In this video, we're going to do a titration curve using Google Sheets. Now, the data that I'm going to be using is sample data from a titration that I did with potassium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. So, first thing I'm going to do, your first column is always your independent variable. So I'm going to enter my independent variable, what I changed in the lab, which was the volume of base added, and our units were milliliters. Our dependent variable, what we measured in the lab, is pH. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and enter my data here for my independent variable. And now I'm going to go up and enter my dependent variable data, my pH data. All right, once we have our data entered, we're going to go and select all of the cells, just like that. I'm going to go up to the Insert menu. I'm going to go to Chart. It should default to a line graph. If it doesn't, you can change the chart type right here, and you want line graph right here. Okay, you should only have one line on your graph like this. Since I went ahead and entered my units already, I've got my x-axis, volume base added, in parentheses milliliters, and then on my y-axis I have pH. Okay, if you need to change any of these, you can just double click and you can edit them. Your title up at the top should be your y-axis versus your x-axis. So my y-axis in this case is pH. My x-axis is volume of base added. So I have pH versus volume base added. That's perfect. Okay. If you wanted to center that, you can double click on it and then just go over and center it right here. Okay, but it's up to you. All right. Now, if I was going to read this, remember, the whole point of this titration curve is we want to find out where we reach that titration point, where our pH is 7. So, to find that point, we want to be able to read this graph. And right now, like volume of base added, like the major lines here are 5. It goes 5, 10, 15. And then pH, same thing. It goes 5, 10, 15. That's really hard to read. So let's add some other lines in here. If you double click on your graph, you want to go to Customize up at the top. Scroll down to the very bottom where it says Grid Lines and Ticks. And let's expand that. You want to go to Horizontal Axis. And then it says Major Spacing Type. You want to make sure that it's on Step. And then if I put a 1 in here, oh, look at that. That's so much easier to read. Now every milliliter has a line. We're going to do the same thing for pH. So let's go Vertical Axis. And let's make our step size 1. Ah, perfect. Okay. Now if you look at our graph, we can easily find where our pH is 7. And we can go over and boom. There you go. That's where our pH is 7. Okay. It looks like it's about 14 point something. Okay. So much easier to read. And now this is real easy. I can just copy this with the copy menu, edit, copy, and then I can paste it into my lab report, all ready to go.